identify as Argentinian. I was born in La Plata, Argentina, which is the capital of Buenos Aires provincia. And so my parents have been born in Argentina, my grandparents, my sister. The only person in my family who hasn't been born in Argentina is my brother, so.
I classify as Puerto Rican. I was born in Rio Piedra, Puerto Rico, and I lived in Yabucoa, Puerto Rico until I was about 4 or 3. And my entire family has always been like Puerto Rican, even though my mom was like born in Chicago, but she like moved to that was because my grandpa was looking for work in Chicago. But yeah, she was raised in Puerto Rico. Yabucoa is considered like kind of country. It's like we lived on a mountain.
I think the thing with me is, so I was born in La Plata, which is a city, like a mix of both like small town and like really big city feels. My mom was born in Pehuajó, which is about 5 hours from La Plata, and that's a lot of like, you see a lot of gauchos, a small pueblo, and then like you drive like 5 minutes and you're like on a lot of farmland. And then I grew up about an hour from La Plata, or like 30 minutes from La Plata, in a place called Citibel, which is more, it's like a more humble like city with like
more sheltered?
Yeah, and it's like a lot more like not neighborhoods, but like no like big townhouses and stuff like that.
Well, I always thought that like being bilingual like gives like sort of an edge over like
edgy.
Yeah, edgy. Like when at first when I like came to the United States, it was kind of hard to learn English and to like everyone like basically in the United States they want you to assimilate into their culture so you could like be like
civilized.
Civilized. When I first came, I was like 4 and it was like preschool, and I tried to I was learning English, and so I guess like being Puerto Rican in the United States, it, like kind of like knowing 2 languages, it gives me an advantage in part that I can like understand things that other people can't, and I can like I feel like I'm like connected in a way to other like Hispanic people in the United States.
I started preschool in Arkansas, and I didn't understand a word any of my teachers were saying. Again, like I understand like they're all like assimilation, and I understand like I assimilate right with my skin tone. Like mentally, it was like a lot of change, like culturally.
Did your parents speak English at home?
No.
Yeah.
My mom has noticed that she throws in some English words, but for the most part, we speak in Spanish.
Yeah.
But like the thing is, I think they don't teach you that much about Argentina. The thing is, like I understand it's like a lot of mix from like Spain and Italy. Yeah, Argentinian like culture and all that is very similar to Spanish stuff. Everything in Argentina is nothing like any other country in Latin America. Like it's not gonna be.
In most like history textbooks that I've read in the like in school, Puerto Rico takes up like I'm gonna say like a paragraph. Most of it, it's like they just explain like how Puerto Rico is a territory, and they just go over like its tropicalness and how like important,
exotic,
yeah. And like it, like I if there's one thing that I want people to know about Puerto Rico and the United States is that it's more profound than what like the culture is more profound than what like schools and like stereotypes teach you. There's more than just the surface, and like if I were to like explain the entire history of like Puerto Rico to anyone like from the United States, they'd be surprised because there's more like than meets the eye. It's just like I don't know, it annoys me because they expect us to learn everything. And I feel like the United States is super hypocritical. Like they judge other countries for like being colonialistic and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure like they make them when like they the shit they did to the Philippines and Puerto Rico and how they're like we took them in to save them and stuff.
Right,
like
I'm the big brother.
Righteous.
Yeah.
Yeah. We weren't taken in as a territory by the United States. It like this might go into one of the other questions, but like it made us more dependent, stuck in a national debt crisis that no one wants to address. National dish: arroz y habichuelas con plátano y pollo guisado. Every time I'm in Puerto Rico, because besides my own house, like I barely eat like stuff that like I don't know, like yeah, like like you can't just like walk around here and like find like Puerto Rican food. Like
Yeah.
it's like
You have to go to a house,
you're like
a household.
yeah, like a
I
household
don't think I've ever
or
seen
like
a
Miami.
Puerto Rican restaurant. National dish. I mean, I think like so there's this dish we have called locro, and it's like what a lot of people like. It's something that you can make where it's just like you throw a bunch of things in one pot and kind of like boil it like soup. So like it's like that whole idea where like if you have limited resources, you need to make something out of what you have. So like if you compare someone from Provincia de Buenos Aires to Provincia de Córdoba, like if you hear someone from Córdoba talking, they'll be like Cordobés, like they have a little like.
I was watching the Puerto Rico versus the United States baseball game. So, like in the dugout, okay. So the like the people from the U.S. were like all serious and like stuff. They were like spitting out their nicotine.
Right, yeah.
And Puerto Rico was like playing like music, like singing
Well,
and
always
dancing
so
in the
much more
dugout.
hype.
Yeah, and like I see that everywhere. So another thing about like so remember how we were talking about earlier how like being Latino, like you could like it connects people having a certain
I love
like
that so much.
background. That's what I love that so much. Like in Dos Patrias, like are like the club. Everyone's like so interconnected and well like bonded together. And then like especially when we went to state competitions, like I don't know, like being Latino like just brought us all together. I used to play a lot of basketball, and there was one time I was playing pickup basketball with a bunch of Puerto Rican kids, and they didn't know I was Puerto Rican until I picked up my phone and I was like, "Hola mamá, estoy en la cancha jugando baloncesto," and I started speaking Spanish.
I love it when they surprise people.
Yeah, and they were like, "What the heck, you speak Spanish?" Like, and then they like asked me to join their basketball team. You know? Whew. So I really like reading. Like I'm not gonna say like fantasy, but like realismo mágico. Especially Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Either in English or in Spanish. Like I love reading like fantasy, like magical realism. Like I grew up in the United States. I don't know much about like Puerto Rican history, and I feel terrible about that because like my dad brings it up to me a lot. He's like, Julian, you should really get to like know more about like your like history.
So bad because like growing up here, we're exposed to those whitewashed textbooks.
Yeah, and the thing is like I want to learn more, but I never have time to actually look into it because stress and school. Like there's huge events that happen in Puerto Rico, like El Masacre de Ponce, or like I don't know.
There's
There's so many things.
La Guerra Triple Alianza.
And honestly, like there's something that I get sad about anytime I go back to Puerto Rico. It's like, so I feel like I missed out on a lot. I remember the kids my age, there was a curriculum, and I feel like I would have been like I was like, would I be in that like if I was back? Like it seems so fun because like they were literally like I love my culture, but like they were walking around Viejo San Juan. They were playing a drum and like singing, like all of them, and they were my age, like all of them. And I don't know, like I feel like I missed out on that. I missed out on like every Christmas, Puerto Rico has this custom where they have like there's something I noticed in the United States and Puerto Rico, like one side is really enthusiastic about their culture and they love it. They do everything they can to like do all their traditions. While the United States are just like caroling.
When I go back there and like I'm there for like a month, it's just like, why did I leave? Like, feeling I can't put into words to like show people what it's like.
My other grandpa, this is something that makes me very sad because he used to like worship his legs when he was up. He used to like work out. That's why he had to come over here because like Puerto Rican hospitals.
The treatment, yeah, exactly.
But so like yeah, like that's one story. But like that grandpa, when in I'm gonna say the 1940s. I don't know. It was a while back. They went to Chicago to look for jobs, and there's several stories that go along with that. But essentially, he went over there to look for jobs to get money, and then when he went back to Puerto Rico, he still didn't have a lot of money, but they live in like a shack mountainside. And that shack was like broken down by a landslide, so they had to move. And the house that they currently have, he built it from the ground up, and the most like fascinating thing is like every time I go back to Puerto Rico, he's like I'm gonna say 70 or 70 or like 60 to 70, and every time I come back there's always something new that he has to show me. No, he's like the most like different. Like every time I come back, he was like, "Hey Julian, I just made this new like gadget. I want to show you." Like he's so inventive, and like that's a grandpa that I introduced to everyone. I don't know, he's different, unique. He knows how to like work like volts and like electricity, rewire things. He wired electricity through his own house. Self-taught. Like, jeez, like I look up to that man so much.
My grandpa, my mom's dad, he passed away like I want to say seven or 8 years ago, and so I think he had something to do with like architecture and all that, and like every year I go back, he built the family he built the house that my mom grew up in. He built it like completely from like nothing. It was like, I think it was a loan on that street. And so every year my mom, like when we're in my mom's hometown, she'll like go to that house and be like, do you remember this house? This is where I grew up. And then every year she'll like show me something new that he does. She's like, this is where he worked. Your grandpa invented this concept, or not invented, but like started it. And then like we go to the family farm that we have on my mom's side, and she's like this, your dad like brought this parrilla, or like your dad built this, or my dad built this, blah blah blah. And it's like, and so then every time my aunt's like really into like drawing and stuff, and my mom's like, your aunt got this from him, and like it's always like hearing things about that.
Yeah.
Where he was like super, like he always like, you can find like his blueprints. It's like, yeah, like take the time to like really look at what he's done.
And like he lost his legs and he's not pitying himself. Like I can't believe, like, and also like that grandpa, he like I have so many stories about him too. But like when there was one time that I love this, like he's always been a really righteous man, like always fighting for justice. He was a security officer when he worked for a hospital when he was younger. And this was before he became an officer. Decided him to like become one. So there was this two dudes, and it was in New York. Well, my dad was in New York, and this was like New York. What used to, it was like a crime. There was these two dudes that were robbing this old lady, and they took her purse or something. So my grandpa, literally like a superhero movie, like he chased after them down. But so basically he chased them down. He got into an alleyway, and they ganged up on him. He got the purse in the end, but like they broke his collarbone, and like to this day he hasn't like fixed it or anything. But they broke his collarbone, and I don't know, like I kind of look up to that too. Like I remember that anytime I would mention that I'm Puerto Rican, they'd think that it was like a jungle, like it was like every day was jungle. There wasn't any sort of civilized areas or anything. And you have McDonald's, you have a mall, you have a Starbucks. One thing that annoyed me, and I'm calling out Wizards of Waverly Place. Right? Okay, so there was a movie of Wizards of Waverly Place. It was like the last movie, and basically the entire family went to the Rousseaus, went to Puerto Rico, and it was like for a tropical getaway. And when Alex went into like the countryside of Puerto Rico, they depicted the Puerto Rican natives as like people wearing like potato sacks, like in a field, just like plow. That's not all there is to us, and like that annoyed me a lot. And I remember like when we were watching that movie, it annoyed my mom a lot. Like, I like to take Lin-Manuel Miranda as a huge inspiration.
I love him.
Like, thank you for bringing that up. You have no idea how many people, when I say I'm Argentinian, have asked me, can you tango? Like,
I hit 8th grade and I took my first Spanish class, and everyone was like, whoa, Julian, you speak Spanish? And I was like, and then I remember there was one kid who I'm not going to name names, but he was like, he's like, you speak Spanish, you must be Mexican, right? Just like I was like, no, I'm Puerto Rican. After that day, it was the first day of school, 8th grade. They would call me Rico for the rest of the year. That was my nickname, Rico. It pisses me off. I like, alright, Rico, Paco, like Juan. Yeah, Juan. And I remember they would also bring up green cards. Did you hop the border to get here? Like, did you use a green card? One day I was like, I got like pissed, and I was like, no, we're an island that's literally like 100 miles off the coast. We're the U.S. citizens. And he was like, oh, so you swam to get here?
No. I think in that situation, I would have just taken that person for an Indian and be like, yeah, I floated here on a tire. Understand how people just the whole no, we're not all Mexican. I feel like we're at a place in time where you should know that Spanish is, other than English, the most widely spoken language in terms of how many countries speak it.
Say, me and Senora Santiago were talking the other day. She brought up this really good point, that the generation before us, our parents, they had to struggle for like to be well educated, to like for like for their families to be okay in the future, and like the generations now in the United States, they don't have to like everything's handed to them on like a silver platter. Yeah, and like I feel like there's like kids in Puerto Rico, they still like, it's not struggle for like anymore, because like generations are changing, people are like changing, but like they still like, it's not like over here where everything's handed to them and you can just like do anything. But yeah, and I feel like the millennial youth scene in Puerto Rico are really like starting to get out there. Like they're changing from like whatever like they used to do that way back when in Puerto Rico. Like they're I feel so blessed to have like bilingual.
Exactly.
I want my kids to be like proud of that, proud of their ancestry. I want them to be like prideful. I don't want them to like assimilate into Trump nation.
It needs to be Latino and proud.
Latino and proud.
And not just Argentinians. I want them to be aware of every culture that's out there.
And in Puerto Rico too, like people are like they see more opportunity in the United States than Puerto Rico, so they move here, and Puerto Rico is left with people who like don't really work. So that's what like
everyone's leaving
more into debt. Yeah, because like it's like no one's staying behind and like helping out their birthplace, their home.
Have gotten this question, but when people ask, would you want to be living in Argentina or like where you were born?
Yeah.
Like
honestly, yeah.
Yeah. Like even though it like there's like so many problems over there, like I'd want to go back and like try to help. Yeah. Over there.
Exactly.
And it's from grade like 3. I want to say like third grade.
Like third grade
now. And the United States is so scared of like talking about their own faults. Like I'm pretty sure they don't bring up like Japanese internment camps, like Latin American course. Like it bring up another side of history that U.S. textbooks are way too like scared to show.
Like we were talking about like history class and stuff. You know the whole idea of like synesthesia, where like you relate things to like certain, like you can relate it to like colors or feelings and stuff. Yeah. The only I relate it, like for some reason I don't do it like numbers or stuff. I do it with like certain classes. The second I think about A-push,
I think of
my mind goes like gray /
I personally prefer to draw in 2D and ink sometimes. Yeah, I ink a lot. I do a lot of sketches in like pencil-ish, and I don't prefer drawing like realistically. It's usually my drawings are really like fantasy.
I've been taking 3D art for 3 years, so I guess you could say like that's my area. It helps a lot with like me wanting to go into engineering or architectural engineering. I really do like 2D art, and I'm trying to get back into it. Like it's a lot for me. It's more therapeutic being able to draw.
Most of my drawings are based on like dreams. You saw the book I was making for like I made a book for I gotta show you that. It was presented in the UF Fine Arts Complex. So basically the book it's like has a lot of really deep symbolism behind it. Oh, symbolism. So I included my fears, one of the strongest like my favorite emotion is like, even though I haven't experienced it yet, I think the strongest emotion a human can experience is love. The strongest emotion of feeling that, the strongest emotion that a human can feel is love, and that it can change or it can like break something. Right? Like it can mend or it can break something. And so basically it goes through a person's dream, and then the dream shifts to a nightmare. And during the nightmare part, it goes through my fear, and one of my biggest fears is time, and like not using it properly or not having enough of it. And so for that, I drew like an hourglass surrounded by the phases of the moon, and like inside the hourglass, as the sand is coming down, a skull is being reviewed, and the sand is covering like a flower. Ever since I was a kid, basically the book is based on like things from my life, and like ever since I was a kid, butterflies have like been like a big part of me. And like I remember even when I was like, I'm gonna say, when I first started playing soccer, my parents told me that like I used to get like when I first started playing star, because I used to get after that I got into it, but like when I first started playing star I wasn't really into it, and I used to like get distracted a lot, and they told me that one day I was like on the corner of the pitch like playing with a butterfly, some sort of like change in my life or something like that. So I drew a butterfly going out from the nightmare, and it morphs the dream and the nightmare together, and so then there's like both of them, the dream and nightmare, morph together to form a heart. And there's like two, and the heart is hollow, and there's two like lovers going towards each other, and like that's like to symbolize love, and all that goes inside a pencil at the end of the drawing. Like he's like dreaming out, like yeah, and like I always find art to be like an escape from like reality. So like why draw more realistically when you can
reality sucks? Yeah,
reality sucks. Like ever since I was a kid, I've always had my head in the clouds like all the time, and I still do. Like I wander off. Like, I started. But first, my concept was gonna be really simple. It was just gonna be like a dude daydreaming, and it was all. But like after that, I started thinking like I can make this way deeper than it actually should be, and like I don't know. I started reading through the dreams I've had, and I started incorporating them into the dream, and it just blew off from there. And like I think before that I was gonna do so I've always been fascinated by the concept of deja vu and like star-crossed lovers. I was gonna do different time periods, and in each time period there's gonna be two people in the crowd with like colored eyes, and like I was gonna do it like different like genders, like guy on guy, girl on girl, like girl guy. Like it was gonna be like it was gonna be different ethnicities, and it was gonna be like it was gonna be star-crossed lovers through the ages. And I was going to do that, but then I thought I don't have much time to do this project, and that's gonna take me like decades to do. Like I've always wanted to like grow up and like do something I'm happy with, and art is something where I'm truly like in my habitat with. And if I grew up to be an artist, and if I were actually successful in some way, even if I wasn't successful,
at least you'd be happy.
Minds that like an art major is like absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
Like I've heard a lot of people be like, "Oh, you're majoring in art?"
I hate the idea of growing up and being like
9 to 5 job.
9 to 5 job, typical American job, like sticking up in an office all day. I hate the idea. I hate it being like I want there to be something more in my life.
And so much you can do with art. Like, and it also brings people happiness. Like not just yourself, but others.
Every time because I have his book in my house. I haven't read through the entire book. It's beautiful, and the thing is like I feel like through art you can really open up another mind within yourself, like another eye. And okay, so have you seen Pablo Picasso's self-portraits throughout his ages?
Yeah.
Oh, it's brilliant. So basically at the beginning it's really realistic, and it's just him looking into a mirror.
Yeah.
But then it slowly starts getting more abstract, like his nose on the side.
I've been in love with centangling since 4th grade, and I do it like to procrastinate. Like cut them off with lines and then start doodling into them.
Like I guess like by doing art throughout my entire life, I feel like I'm gonna slowly like open that eye more and more.
It also helps you like figure out who you are as a person. Like I don't know what I would do without art.
Yeah.
Because it helps like relax me, and it's just like away from like all the other like academic like
pressure
classes that I'm taking.
Especially like you take a lot of STEM classes.
Yeah. And
it's all the rigorous in itself.
You can go in there and just kind of do what you want.
Another thing is about art is that you can really make a statement through art too.
It's mostly like liberation.
It's like essays, but with like pictures.
Yeah.
Not essays, but
like.
And the thing is, it like not only like I mean, of course, essays and verbally is like your voice is like the biggest weapon you can have, but like through art, you can
art is something else.
Yeah, art is like you can visualize, like you can make a full like you can give off feelings through art.
No, like box where it says like this is what it is.
Honestly, when I'm an adult, I can envision myself like starting a revolution or some shit. Because like
I don't want to be like a person that just kind of like walks the halls at a school.
Yeah.
Me too.
Like I want to like make a change, especially with like around like people like Hispanics and Latin Americans in this country.
Yeah.
And like that's another thing. I don't want to live a meaningless existence.
I don't think art is. I feel like art is like a career that has like we have a lot of representation here.
Yeah, but like sometimes I feel like art is underappreciated. It's a beautiful thing when you're talking with someone and you find yourself saying things. Oh, it's a beautiful thing when you get so comfortable with someone and you realize you're telling them things you've never even said out loud before.
Home is where the people I love are. You can like be yourself with people that aren't gonna judge you for like the things you like.
It's like through his presidency, there may be like, actually not there may be, there will be definitely way more xenophobic. I'm not gonna be afraid to show who I am. Like.
It's just gonna help us prove points. Like saying stuff.
Totally, standing up for your like culture, religion, like language.
I don't think I could be prouder to be it. Like
You guys look like brothers.
Grey hoodies, they cover their heads.